Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. As always, I have such an exciting guest on today, and I have my special co-host with me again today, Abby Rinella. We are talking to Kristi Clover, mom of moms, homeschool mom of homeschool moms. She is so much fun. You guys are going to love this episode with her. We are talking about her new book called M.O.M. Is that what you actually call it, Kristi? Is M.O.M?
Yeah, M.O.M, Master Organizer of Mayhem. There
M.O.M, Master Organizer of Mayhem. I love that title. I love the title. I love the cover of the book. It is so much fun. It's so eye-catching when you first look at it. It's got a bunch of Legos all over it. So welcome to the program.
Thank you. We have been trying for this for a while now. Holy smokes.
I think literally for like over a year, we have been trying to coordinate our schedules.
It's been insane trying to get everything to come together. I think you had to cancel once, I had to cancel once, and then it was just like, okay, let's just try later.
Yes. Well, it's all in God's perfect time. And this is a great time because your book just came out and I'm excited about it and want to tell people all about it. And Abby, thanks for joining us again today.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I'm so excited organization is my love language. So I'm super excited to be on here.
Let me speak love to you today.
Right. It's the 8th love language, huh?
It is.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I laughed because I was so stressed out at one point because I shared with you guys before we started that we started this home renovation. My friends are like, you cannot call it remodel. You're down to studs. I'm like, right. At the same time, we're doing book launch. So I kind of I have moments where I'm like, oh, find a happy place. And I started doing this deep declutter and my husband was laughing. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I feel really happy right now. And he's like, I'm just going to walk away. I'm like, yeah, you do that. I'm really happy right now. It's like in this delirious moment. He's like, okay.
It's like nesting, right? Because instead of birthing a child, you're birthing a brand new home.
And a book. Oh,
and
the
a
same
book.
time.
And a book.
Not
it's like
recommended.
twins, but not. It's like fraternal twins.
I'm like, I brought this upon myself because I called it Master Organizer of Mayhem. So the Lord was like, ha, ha, ha. Let's bring a little more mayhem into your life.
And when you pray,
and homeschooling.
That's amazing. Right. Like when you pray for patience and you're like, shouldn't have done
do that anymore.
No.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So tell us very quickly, Kristi, tell us about your family because you've got some kiddos and a husband and
just a few kiddos. Yes.
You like.
So I love it because the homeschool community, I can say this. I can say we only have 5 kids because here in San Diego, people are like, you have what? Like,
funny.
Are you crazy? Do you know how that works? And I'm like, yeah. And I have a funny story about that in the book, actually. Someone here in San Diego who asked that to me in a very hormonal state. I was pregnant with our 5th, and I had a very snarky response.
Can you tell us the snarky response now?
Yes. Okay. I'll start with, I'll circle back. I'll bring it full circle.
Okay.
So Steve and I have been married for 22 years. We just celebrated our 22nd anniversary. And then I have 5 kids. Grant is the oldest. He's 17. And then Blake's 16. Wade is 11. Ashlyn is 8. And Caitlin is 6. So when I was pregnant with Caitlin, so I had because it's like socially acceptable for you to continue to try to have more kids if you have all of one gender. So when I was pregnant with Ashlyn, everyone's like, oh, did you get your girl? And like Mama Bear, Mama Boys was kind of like, I did, but I love my boys. Like, it was like, leave me alone. Well, when I was pregnant with Caitlin, I had this gentleman who decided to hit me on a day when I was very tired and hormonal. And he looked at the 3 boys and then Ashlyn, and he's like, you do know how that works, right? I'm like, yeah. And you know what they say, practice makes perfect. So sorry, I went a little rated PG there, but yeah, it was awesome. And and he is like, and like the woman behind him was blushing, and the woman at the cash register was laughing so hard. So I'm like trying to get the kids out of the store, and all of my older kids are like, "What does that mean? What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Mommy shouldn't have said that. Like, don't speak in anger or pregnant. I don't know."
Oh
my goodness,
that's
awesome.
Fun.
So
well, come to the South where lots of people have lots of kids, and it is totally socially acceptable. And we're the family who has only 2 kids.
Wow.
And we don't drive a minivan. And what else don't we do? I don't know, probably lots
We
of
don't fit in a minivan anymore because my teenagers are 6'2". So they don't fit in the car very well, and everyone's too scrunched for a minivan. So we're literally at the stage where we have an SUV, but everyone's trying to talk us into those like mega sprinter car things that are like fits 12 and, and 10 bikes. I don't know.
Right. And a camper. It's got a camper in it.
Totally. Yeah. You can sleep in there. Yeah. Totally. We're just going to drive a mobile home.
So much fun.
That's funny.
Really quickly. Hold on. Can you move a little closer to your mic, Kristi?
Yes.
Maybe. Okay. Because for some reason you're kind of going in and out and it's getting really low. So, okay. I marked that down. So Garrett.
It's because I talk with my hands and I'm moving.
That's okay.
Just glue the mic to my face and then
Can you hear her okay, Abby?
I can hear her great.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah, I know I hear her. And she's not going in and out to me.
Okay. All right, great. Continuing on.
Okay.
So that segues perfectly, having all these kids into this new book that you have called M.O.M, Master Organizer of Mayhem.
I hear you.
First of all, you can't hear me?
1 second. I can't hear you. No,
okay.
I lost audio there.
Uh-oh.
It's back. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear. I've already, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
This is fun. Yes.
This is so fun. I love technology.
Don't you? I'm like, where'd you go? All
right. You don't read lips?
No, I can't. Actually, I'm horrible at reading lips.
Me too.
Okay. So go for it. Otherwise, I could just pretend like I knew what you're asking me.
Okay. All right.
Segue.
Okay. So these multiple kids that you have, that you've practiced for many years, and you now have a perfect child in the end.
Exactly.
This has been, I'm sure, one of the things that has caused you to write this book called M.O.M, Master Organizer of Mayhem. And I love the title of it. Tell us about your book and help us moms who are trying to figure out, because I know this is a difficult thing for any mom, not just homeschool mom, but homeschool mom, when you add real life and then homeschooling, it can get really crazy and really chaotic and really stressful. So tell us about your book.
Okay. Well, the book is really fun because it started actually when I only had 2 kids. So way back, go in what is it, that little time machine, like the flashback or whatever it's called. But the way back. So if we go back in time, when I just had 2 kids, and I think Grant and Blake were only 4 and 3 at the time, I was asked to speak at our women's event. And so I was like, okay, what would you like me to talk on? And can you please talk about home organization? And I remember thinking okay, that's weird. I know I'm a little, I love it and I thrive in it, but I'm not perfect at it. And so I sat down and I was like, sure, I'll speak on it. And so I sat down and I really tried to think through what gives people the perception that I'm so organized. And so because I started asking friends too, why do people think, because anytime I asked a girlfriend, I'm like, what are some descriptions of me? What do you feel are some of my strengths? And organization always came up, and I'm like, you guys have been to my house. It is messy sometimes. And because I feel like when I'm overwhelmed, I let things go, and that's okay. And what I've learned is that is absolutely the right thing to do. Because if you really truly need a break, don't go. I mean, unless you're crazy like me and really just need to get in there and get a project done, then that's wonderful. But what I discovered is that it's my systems. So I would have people over for a play date one day and the house would be torn apart with all the little kids. And the next day I'd be hosting some event and people are like, what happened here? Were you up all night cleaning? I'm like, no, I just, put things away. I had this little system for doing this. And they're like, explain that. And on top of all that, my husband's been traveling for 20 years of our marriage. And so I think when people were trying to figure out how I did things, that was kind of where it started. So long story short, I sat down and I wrote out this talk, M.O.M, Master Organizer of Mayhem. And I came up with 10 rules. And so they're kind of like this foundation for things that I've noticed have to be in place for me to feel most organized. And it doesn't mean that you have to have everything going all at the same time, but they are key components to how to be organized. And I mean, decluttering is one, asking for help. And so there's a lot of these core foundational things that I put in the book. And what's fun is that from 12, 13 years ago, when I first gave this talk, the rules are exactly the same. I changed the order, but the rules are exactly the same. And so it's been neat to see how when continuing to apply them as my family's grown, it's continued to work. And then the second phase of the book is actually I share some of the systems that I put in place as well.
So cool. So I know I definitely want to talk about the 10 foundational rules that you have set, but you also talk in there about setting a good foundation first. How do we do that as moms?
Well, a big key part. So the good foundation is really looking at all of the 10 rules and looking through it. But the key is that I feel like we need to start by redefining organization, because unlike 12 years ago, we have so much being thrown at us daily. We have an onslaught from TV shows. I mean, HGTV has wonderful shows that I personally love watching. But, when you look at a house that Joanna Gaines or the Property Brothers or whomever it is that's doing the space, they've completely cleaned it out, remodeled it, make it look perfect. We've got Instagram that's so focused on these beautiful rooms. We've got Facebook, Pinterest. We have all these things we didn't used to have. Martha Stewart was my only little person breathing down my neck, like be perfect like me.
Right.
But that's what we feel like, because so often I feel like people associate organization with perfection, and that's not it at all. Organization to me is creating more efficiency in your home life so that you can maximize your time with your family as well as for other priorities. And so I like to try to help people figure out what their priorities are so that it gives you that motivation, because everybody needs to know their why. Like if you're totally happy in your mess and chaos, then God bless you. You be happy in your mess and chaos. If it's not affecting you or anyone else in your family and you've got your systems down, then that's working. But if you are feeling stressed and people in your home, like I've had some moms come up to me like, I need this. They're like, my husband and I are fine with it, but they might have a special needs child who needs structure. And so they've had to learn how to get organized, much like I had to learn how to get organized.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question about that, though, because I have often been to friends' houses, and I have friends on both ends of the spectrum, those who their houses are always neat and tidy, and they have systems in place, and they have an order of their life. And typically those people are, those are the people who like to purge, of course. And I'm sure that's probably one of your 10
No, it's
rules.
not my gifting. Well, decluttering is, but no, I have friends that are very gifted at it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I tell you, I've gotten really good at decluttering because we just simply don't have space. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. But I have friends who just have very organized, clean homes. And then I have other friends who their house is just always a mess all the time. And I feel like both of those friends, but typically the ones whose houses are typically messy, as soon as you walk through that door, they might say that they're comfortable with it. Like, oh, we're okay living like this. But as soon as you walk through that front door, they apologize for the mess in their house.
Oh, yeah.
Almost always. I'm so sorry, my house is a mess. And I'm like, look, I did not come to see your house. I came to see you. I really don't care if your house is a mess. But I know because of their response that it is something that is stressful to them. And a lot of people simply don't really know how to declutter, how to organize, how to get rid of the chaos in their lives. So let's go through some of the 10 foundational rules. Abby, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking before we get into that, what I love that you said is going back to, because we're all homeschool moms here. And I love how you said it's not a one size fits all. It really is what works best for your family. What are your husband's needs? I might be okay with one thing. And I just love how you're saying it. It really is. We're all created uniquely and differently. And so what's chaos for you might not be chaos for me. And so that's what I really am liking about the direction your book goes. Is it's not you have to do this exactly the way that the Clover household does this in order to be the exact mom and wife that Kristi is. But it's really just, it's just some basic fundamental concepts that really can work in anybody's home. Right. So just like there's not one size boxed curriculum for every single homeschool family. It's different and unique for each of us. So I'm super excited about that, because this book then is for everyone.
It really is.
It is. And that's why, I start, my first rule is glean and tweak, because we can learn from other people and learn from Pinterest and learn from, other books, out there. And I mean, even you can learn from this book, but unless you tweak it for the season that you're in and your personal family, because I have friends who, if I cleaned and organized my house and you walked into my house and you'd be like, wow, this is perfect. I have friends that will still walk in and be like, oh, this is stressing me out because it's not because there are just people who cannot handle anything on a counter. I'm all about let's put a knickknack here, not to an extreme. I mean, I have seasons where it's a little extreme, but I have friends that that's just, they need that. And so I don't have to live according to that. My husband likes clean counters, but it doesn't mean, he just doesn't want all the Kristi piles. He doesn't want the Kristi piles there. Really, that is what it is. And now all of my children have learned how to have their own piles, and it's not good.
That's a lot of piles to have.
That's a lot
Let's
of piles.
really quickly, before we continue on, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk more about all of these fun rules that you've got.
I love it. Yes.